God, come on, God dang it. Yeah, now we are all cylinders. Torque wrench, bolts and nuts, gaskets, horsepower stuff. Got the valves, got the pistons. Me and Ricky speaking, we all listening. Y'all are tuned in to On All Cylinders.
Oh, snap, what you doing out there? I'm hanging out with my boy.
Ricky D here, trying to talk about some four-wheel drive stuff.
Ricky D, we talking about some big tires. We talking about wheels. And that's pretty much what today is going about. Off-road wheel and tire discussion. Does size matter?
Hey, I've been told that size does not matter, but I think they're just telling me that to protect my feelings.
Well, I mean, no one wants a sad sack.
That's right.
But anyway, I'm a off-road kind of guy. I like off-road. I like on-road. I like racing. I like dirt bikes. I like anything with an engine. But
if it's got tires, wheels, motors, and gas, we like it.
Right, but I mean, I got big tire stuff too.
Oh, I got big tire stuff, but I got big wheel stuff inside. Not big tall sidewall stuff.
You a big dish on a little plate.
That's right.
Wait, that didn't even make any sense.
I know what you meant.
You a big wheel and little rubber.
That's right.
Rubber band man.
The story of my life.
Shit. Right?
I am a fan of the big wheel craze. I like it. The mile crawler thing, I like it. I mean, I am literally in the process of trading my four-wheel drive for a two-wheel drive. That's jacked up and looks like a four-wheel drive. Because I want to save fuel mileage, because I have no intentions of taking the thing off-road.
My whole thing is the whole, like, I'm going to stick my tire 16 inches out the side of my truck.
Guilty.
Like the inner dish, like the inside of the wheel is equal as the outside fender kind of shit. I'm not a fan of that.
I know a lot of people aren't, and I'll be honest with you, I like the way it looks, but after having it, driving it's so hard, because like getting in ridiculous things like at my bank, there's two curbs that you got to go into to get into the ATM.
Right.
I got to climb up over them because my tires will literally stick out too far.
See, and that is telltale signs that shit is wrong.
Wrong is a strong word.
I mean, but seriously,
impractical, yes.
My daily truck, there's not a parking spot in town.
Oh, I know.
Like, my girl got a big nose.
She got a big nose.
She got a big nose, boy.
And a big booty. Well, you would think that over time that they would widen what is considered to be the traditional parking space. I actually used to stripe parking lots, and even striping them, I'm like, these need to be bigger. Like, cars are not this big now. But unfortunately, that's not paid that way. How that's paid is, they get paid a certain amount per footage, and they want to get as many stripes in there as they can, so that they progressively make the spots a little smaller.
So that's how that's done.
Absolutely.
I was always wondering, like, how do they determine how many spots go in there?
Not just a hat rack, son. I've done a lot of stuff.
The man's wore some hats and helmets
and got in trouble for not wearing a helmet on a YouTube video. I can't tell you the verbal rapage that would happen during that.
The verbal rapage. back to off and on road wheels.
Absolutely.
I'm a steel wheel guy. Mm-hmm. You dent them, you heat them, and beat them.
Absolutely. It's form over function.
Yeah. Absolutely. And they're a little bit heavier.
Which that's okay.
It kind of keeps your feet down.
Yeah, I think people get it. I think what happened with the whole big wheel, alloy wheel versus steel wheel craze is that it's kind of like people got these trucks and jacked them up and put these big hot auto wheels on them, and for some reason thought that made them like a cool off-roader.
Right.
And it did the exact opposite. It made your truck effectively like a hot rod. You know, it's not something. It's something that's going to shine up. You're going to make it pretty, you know. And that's one side of it. And I like that side of it. But I also like the pre-runner stuff. You know.
Oh yes.
I mean, I love that stuff.
Absolutely.
You know, it's got 15, 16,
28
17 wheels
plus inches of suspension travel. Oh, taking jumps 130. Oh, give me some.
Absolutely. And I think that stuff is completely awesome. But I think when you're trying to merge the two, it don't work. You know,
right.
I think if you're going to build a quote unquote mall crawler, which is what I like, I'm no shame, I like it.
Mall rated pickup.
That's right. Then say, hey, look, I built this truck because I think it looks cool.
Right.
This is what I want to drive, and I think it looks cool. Don't try to pass it off as something that you're going to take off road. Because I'm telling you right now, my truck, it ain't going off road.
Right.
Unless I absolutely have to.
Right.
But if I wanted something to go off road, or if I work like your truck, your truck's a good looking truck, but you also use it on your farm.
Thank you. Yes.
It has a practical application.
Yes.
You know, you've got multiple intentions with it.
God dang badass, man.
That's badass, man.
I pulled a lot of people with that truck. I pulled a lot of stuff with that truck.
Mm-hmm.
I love that truck. I have nothing bad to say about, the big tire, small tire thing. I like all wheels and tires, basically. And like you said, it's form over function.
Absolutely.
But I cannot get down with the Carolina Squirt.
Preach.
Or whatever the hell they call it. You got like 2 tons of invisible bricks and mortar back there.
Have you been to the Carolinas and seen this in person?
No, that's what keeps me out of there.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, it's named after that. I'm not even going to go visit that.
Well, as you know, I just went down to Carolina to pick up a car and brought it back here.
Even for the seafood, it's not worth seeing that.
It's crazy. Literally, I wish you guys could see this, the visual representation. The truck, they will set them stop and do a 6-inch, 8-inch front. And when they're driving the trucks, they have to pull themselves on the steering wheel up.
So they can see over
so
the
they can
hood.
see, yeah.
See, that's, I mean.
It's followed by straight pipes. Like legit.
If you build it, you drive it. It's your pride, I support it. I do not support that.
I do not support that.
I do not support the Carolinas. It looks like your truck is taking a shit in the middle of the road. Like, that's what it looks like. It looks like, I had air, but the back bags, they don't go up no more.
When I look at it, I go, you can only afford half the lift kit.
Right, yeah. Like,
why didn't you wait to put the front half in? I mean, you could have got the second half later.
Yeah, like, if you were to split the difference and not paid for the 16-inch lift on the front and would have just done a 4 and 8 or whatever.
Yeah, or just a level would have been fine.
Yeah, level.
But every one of these squat trucks have got
5 and 3 would have been great.
Absolutely.
These
squat trucks, though, because like I said, I was down there, I seen it, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a joke. I mean, this is how naive I was. I thought it was just something that people talk about online.
Asinine.
It's ridiculous.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Don't like it.
And
what if you put a trailer on there?
Oh, dude, there is no using those trucks.
I get it. Like, I get it's a fad. There's no functionality except for looking like a Georgia, Florida shithead.
Like looking like an idiot.
You know what I mean? Like, I get it. But what if, in that instance, you had to use it with a trailer?
Yeah, you're done.
I mean, you can't get a jack tongue up that high.
Yeah.
To not scrape. Like,
they're absolutely, it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Stop the Carolina Squat.
Stop the squat.
Stop the squat. Like,
that needs to be a shirt.
Stop the squat.
Maybe that'll take you away from the stop the swap and it'll just be stop the squat.
Well, since our last combo, I've been doing a little bit of just, not change of heart.
I want to make this monumental occasion right now that Glenn Clark is acknowledging that he would like to
Coyote swap something.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine.
I will. I would leave my traditional, naturally aspirated, small block and big block 70s ways, maybe for a Coyote engine.
I do not blame you. I don't blame you.
Just after what I've read, and I mean the initial power over leader, I'm thinking that's pretty impressive.
And those motors are going into the four-wheel drive applications a lot right now. A lot of the Baja 500 trucks are running the Coyote style motors.
But it's one of those things. I think they get 84 horses a liter.
It's ridiculous.
And LS3 gets 62 horses a liter.
Right.
The LS has more add-on options for horsepower and tuning applications, as it were. the Coyote motor, I guess, where it's a little bit
maximized.
newer. It's kind
maximized
of
from the factory. There's really
there's no improvement to it.
There no naturally aspirated improvements that can be made.
Right.
They've bought cams and put them in there. It doesn't do any good.
Right.
At least, I mean,
Dual overhead cam engine as well, aren't they?
Yes. They're dual overhead cam motors.
Yes.
They're ridiculous.
Yeah.
Literally, the only thing that you can do to them after tuning them is add boost or some sort of power adder.
Right. And that's what I was reading. It would be it spray it or
boost
or cram it.
Yeah, and they love it.
Or both.
Absolutely. The 14 up motors got 4 rod pistons and cranks on them. They're bad.
But this is segue to our next topic. Tuners.
The single most important thing you can do is choose the correct tuner for the application that you need. And
right. Don't use a bullshit cheap tuner.
Absolutely. But even those have their applications. There are guys that, there's a legitimate reason those do as well as they do, especially in the diesel world.
Right.
They're really good in the diesel world from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Me just checking into the diesel market, I've been looking at those and I can see the purpose behind them. But like, if you do a gas motor, unless you're going to do something simple like tune the displacement on demand in like the Chevy trucks, unless you're just going to tune that out, then it's cool because if you have a handheld tuner, you can tune it out, and then when you go to get rid of the vehicle, you can turn it back on. That's fine. So there's no check engine lights. They have practical applications. However, in the realm that I like to play, in the realm that you like to play, horsepower is the main goal.
It's what's for dinner.
Absolutely.
And torque is dessert. I mean.
And it is absolutely the most crucial thing that you can do to your car is pick the correct tuner.
But my issue with the tuning, I am not an anti-tuner guy, but I own a diesel. I drive a 6.0. And people ask me all the time, how much money you got in that goddamn truck? And, other than having a new ignition box put in it or a glow plug module put in it because, it's a 2005. Electronics don't last. Like, electronics are not made to last. So I expect to replace that stuff. Other than that, it has given me no problems.
Was it deleted and hit gas?
No, it is an all-natural truck. 190,000 miles. And if I tune it, is when I'm going to start having problems.
Absolutely.
If I put a Bulldog or anything else on it, because it takes legit 10 to 12 grand to completely bulletproof a diesel for what it needs to be done.
Really?
Yeah, because you have to do transmission work, which ain't cheap.
Right.
Because you're going to snap that crap in half on the inside with the new power.
What are the weak spots on those other than like the head studs and the EGR? Because when I went to a diesel drag race last year down in North Carolina. And, those guys were telling us that built properly, the 6.0 in the Ford was one of the strongest motors. It just got a really bad rap because it was one of the first trucks, first diesels that come out that had good power, so it broke stuff.
Well, and not only that, the first series 6.0s were good. The later gen 6.064s, they had residual sand in the oil coolers from the manufacturer that would stop up your system and melt your shit down. And that was on the manufacturer.
That's a quality control issue.
Right. It was sand inside the actual intercooler. And that's what gave them a bad name. That's why every one of them within the first 30, 40,000 miles broke down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they're having that quick.
So they got the stereotype of being junk when really they weren't.
Right, exactly. It wasn't that they were junk. It was that the company that they got parts for didn't do correct.
Okay.
Right. Anyway, but once you do a tune, I mean, you're talking head studs. You're talking the correct gaskets. If you don't do the right gaskets, the head gaskets on your truck, you will milkshake that son of a bitch.
Gotcha.
You will put water in your oil faster than anything because you're blocking off.
Is there a specific gasket for the 6.0 stuff that they need?
I'm not sure what years need what. I haven't, like I said, I haven't done anything to it. I don't plan on doing anything to it.
Right.
But I do know that that's the stuff that you need to do. You have to take the variable vane turbo out of it, put a solid state turbo in it.
Oh, okay.
So then you have to get all new piping and plumbing to handle. And that's why those trucks have a variable vane turbo in them, is because they put down so much natural power with a solid state vane turbo. It was ripping the transmissions in half.
Oh, okay.
363 horsepower naturally. I mean, power stroke.
So it's probably 700 foot-pounds of torque if it's like
yeah. Exactly. And that's stock.
Right.
That's more than what most people need.
Right. Admittedly, just kind of so people know, I know very, very little about diesel trucks. I am in the process of getting into that world, but the way I look at
it's an expensive world.
Well, the LS world was an expensive world too, until I learned the right people. And that's kind of the way I'm looking at this. Is that there was a time I knew nothing about LS motors.
What's a set a good high-rated pound injector on a LS to do a complete, all the injectors?
210-pound injectors. They're bad. You can get them for about $1,500.
All right, about $3,000 is what you're going to pay for the high-dollar injectors.
But at what point do you need those? Is where I'm at.
When you start tuning and you start upping your fuel usage and what you need to dump and what you need to run to make it run like it should. I mean, top performance. All that soot that's coming out is unburnt fuel.
Right.
When it starts burning clear is when you know that you're maximizing and you're getting every bit of what you can out of
I learned that
your
the diesel. Yeah, I learned that the diesel drag strip stuff. I mean, they have a puff of black smoke and then it's fumes.
Yeah, because they're burning.
Yeah, which I want to disclaim this. I have no intentions of rolling coal. I just want a truck that makes big power and I can put big tires on it and look really cool going down the road towing a car.
But that's the thing. You put a tuner on them and you don't spend that money is when people have problems. Okay.
Well, see, that kind of worries me a little bit because the truck that I'm looking at getting, it's got an EFI live tuner on it. But it's been EGR deleted. And
head stud's been done, gaskets.
They said it's not turned. They said it's not turned up enough to need those yet. It's only like a 120 horse tune.
Okay.
It's at the point from the way they were explaining to me what I've been reading is that there's different stages. Once you get past X, then you need YZ, and I don't know where that is yet.
Personally, just from my personal experience and what other diesel owners have told me in interaction, I wouldn't put a tuner on one for anything because that's when you start breaking stuff. If you're not prepared to go all the way in, don't do anything.
Right. Well, that's my plan. If I get this truck, I'm just going to leave it on one or the fuel tune. And
that's what I would do. I mean, people do. I'm not building or driving anybody's truck. If you want to do it, do it. You know what I mean? I'm that kind of dude.
Right.
Just that would be my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll get a whole lot of flack about that, and people be like, "God damn, I got a 210 tuner on my goddamn truck. I ain't had one big problem on it. It'll be out of the shop next week. But that's it."
You hush your mouth, you 6-0 driving Glenn Clark.
This is almost every time somebody tells you how badass their truck is, they'll be like, "Man, it just got out of the shop."
Yeah.
That sounds real badass. Every time I talk to you, the truck's in the shop.
Hey, wait a minute. Every time you talk to me, my car's broke. Wait a minute. What's going on here?
and I was always told by a diesel mechanic and a rebuilder, like a machinist.
Right.
Tuners on gas engines don't really do much.
Yeah, the handheld stuff is not worth anything.
Right. That you actually have to go in and have work done.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's especially on the new stuff. You got to tune not only the motors, but you got now the transmissions come with their own transmission control module that has to require a whole separate set of credits to even to be tuned on. It's crazy.
So it's like firewall after firewall after firewall. Like everything's got to have a standalone system, basically.
Like the 20. Is
that what you're telling me?
The 2020 Ford stuff, you can't even change. You can't even tune it yet. Like
standalone fuel system.
Yeah.
Nice way to spend $10,000.
Not a bad way to spend $10,000. So let me ask you a question. You do a lot of off-roading. At what point do you need to start worrying about how much travel your suspension has, how thick the sidewall is on your tire?
That pretty much depends on like how much of the shit you want to be in. Mm-hmm. I mean,
let's say that you're going to be
travel. The thing about your travel is how hard you have your suspension set up. Mm-hmm. If it's soft and cushy travel, or is it pretty? I mean, there's tuning on your suspension just like there is a car.
Right.
When is too much, when is too little.
Right.
So the worst thing about that is a rollover. Mm-hmm. You know, is finding that pivotal point.
Right.
So a lot of travel is good, but a lot of travel is expensive.
Right.
Because then you're talking coilovers over coilovers and longer shocks and then reservoir shocks.
Right.
You know, you're talking $1,600 for a single shock in some applications.
Right.
There's 4 of them on that damn.
Right.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's money I would never spend.
But what the shocks can do is crazy too.
Yeah, I mean, it's all contingent on what your application
your goals
is.
are, yeah.
The average dude that's out here wheeling around our mountains, I would say that I'm a lifted dude. You know, I'd put a good 4-link, you know, coilover, front and back, solid axles, good 35s. 35 will get you through anything.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel about it.
When you go over a 35-inch tire, in my opinion, like, you're really not doing anything more.
Just adding extra weight.
Just adding extra weight.
And looking cool.
And, I mean, they do help if you're going to be running over 4-foot tree trunks and stuff like that. It's all what you're going to do with the truck.
Right. Like I can see
I've not been stuck.
Right.
And I run 35 by 1250s on everything I got.
Right.
And I've not been stuck.
There you go.
And I don't have anything with a big 12-inch crazy lift.
Right.
You know, my trucks have like a 4-inch lift and then an 8-inch lift. And one of them's stock.
Right.
But I know each truck's capabilities.
I think that's
a big part of it.
Yeah. The most important tool of the truck is the man behind the steering wheel.
Right. You got to know your rig.
Right.
And you got to know when you're driving across a hill, when am I going to roll? You know, what is my tipping point?
Right. Finding the capability of the truck, finding the capability of you, and then making sure you don't go past either one of them.
Right.
Man, that common sense stuff's not so common anymore.
Yeah. Like, you really don't need to be out there getting too crazy until you kind of learn the parameters of your own limits and your vehicle's limits. And that goes for any kind of driving.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's any kind of driving.
I've got a few buddies that are big time four-wheel guys, and they love it. And they're like, well, come on, man, let's take your truck out in the woods. Just take your truck out in the woods. And I'm like, no. Every time I take a four-wheeler in the woods, I end up with a four-wheeler on top of me. I know me. I'm gonna mess it up.
Right.
And because I'm not that guy who can go out there and just be like, okay, I'm gonna put around. This is fun. I do that for like a second. Right. And then I'm like, all right, but I can climb that mountain. Watch this.
But and that's the thing. The big tires, you know, if you're a rock crawler, you can deflate your tires, get more footprint, get it to wrap around the rocks instead of slip off the rocks. It just depends on what you plan on doing.
So much stuff goes into it, man. You know that, but that's the beauty of what we love. You know,
everything's got its spot.
Right, and you can do any of it nowadays. You know.
Yeah.
You and I both were around before the internet. There was a time to where if you wanted a specific point or a specific part, you had to know a guy to know a guy to know a guy to go get it.
Yes, you had to know where to find it or find a guy that knows where to find it.
And then hopefully he would be willing to get rid of it.
Yeah.
You know, today's world we can go. I think literally I was looking at this today. You can order a 1,000 cubic inch motor from Sonny's Performance right now, and it makes 1,000 horsepower and it runs on 91 octane.
That's crazy.
Anybody can order it. As long as you got $100,000, you're good.
Same thing with the Hellcat engines.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're nuts.
$70,000 to $100,000, depending on whatever setup you want. I think a crate motor, Hellcat motor, now
45,000.
45 with the trans.
Yeah. Trans, intercooler,
push button start, everything. Yeah.
Comes with a wiring harness.
That's what I'm saying.
Put it in your car, plug it up, good to go.
It's ridiculous. 707, tune port horsepower.
In a car that weighs, factory, they'll run. A friend of mine, she lives in New York. She's got one on the stock tires. Stock, like stock, freaking stock. It went 1080s.
1080. That's cooking and booking. For a stock car with just the crazy big engine.
Nuts.
Speaking of, this is go back to the tuning thing. This is from Pro Car Reviews, since I will tell people the top 5 rated tuners.
As far as like handheld tuners?
Flash programmers.
Okay.
What they are.
Roger.
And this is from procarreviews.com. You can go look at I'm not going to sit here and read the whole damn article. You can go online and find the article if you want it.
Don't be lazy.
Super Chips 1845, the Flash Pack F5. They gave it a really high rating. Does not have live monitoring. The Hypertech 32501 does not have live monitoring. Gets a really great review. Diablo Sport 12030. No live monitoring. Gets a great review. And then the Bully Dog 4417 GT has live monitoring. The Edge 85 450 CTS2 has live monitoring. So there is the top 5 rated Flash programmers from Procar Reviews. You can go online and see what each feature is. I'm just going to give you the names so you can go online and check them out for yourself.
Now, even after you...
I'm not an electronic tuner guy. Right. I have not handheld tuned or flashed programmed nothing. I flash fried some chicken. My version of tuning a car is getting out there with a screwdriver and then a 9/16 and turning the distributor.
I've never used a handheld tuner either.
Time and Light,
because I'm friends with the best LS tuner in the country.
Time and Light is probably as close to a handheld flash programmer as I've ever been. Ever.
But even never using a tuner, if I'm going to buy one of those, I'm going to buy the one that let me at least monitor stuff. At least then I feel like I got my money's worth. I can watch stuff.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, I want something with a screen. Damn it. Everything got a screen on it now.
I mean,
if it don't have a screen, it ain't shit.
I ain't buying it if it ain't got a screen. At least I can be like, even though I don't know nothing about diesels, I can be like, look at my EGRs, my boost and this thing. I'm good.
Yeah,
I sound like I know what I'm talking about.
I got gauges.
My
gauges got lights and they change colors. That's an important part.
Watch me drive around the mall. I got gauges in my mirror. I got gauge. Well, that's screens. Oh, never mind.
They do. Them pop-up displays, that used to mess me up.
Oh, me too.
Like, I was like, where is that reflecting from? Like,
yes.
Get that off the window.
Or my buddy Buzz has got a Ford truck. My buddy Buzz has got a Ford truck, man. It was the craziest thing I ever seen. And now everybody's got them. You put it in reverse.
Hell yeah, everybody's got a Ford truck because we all smart.
Nope.
That's just like.
Anyway, you put it in reverse and it had a backup camera in the mirror. Like part of the mirror would go away. And
that's messed up.
And I was like, that's awesome. No, that was bad. And I was like, I've never seen anything like that because when you weren't in there, the whole mirror was there. I was like, why does not everything have that? Because that way it forces you to not just rely on the backup camera. You actually still have to use your mirror. Versus like a lot of stuff is in the dash now. You just, it backs up itself.
But I'm one of them dudes like you put your shoulder up across the back of the bench seat.
Well, see, you ain't know the short. You ain't know the vertically challenged and fat type.
You turn your neck and you look behind you through the back window.
You see how big my neck is? You see how big my belly is? You know how hard it is for me to turn that far?
I learned to parallel park in like an '86 Caprice wagon with a wood grain.
I learned how to not parallel park. I just I'm out. I go down Maysville Street right here, and if I can't see, if there ain't something open I can just pull into, I'm walking.
I'm convinced that they have taken like parallel parking out of the driver's requirements.
Nobody needs to do that.
I'm pretty convinced. Like,
they took cursive writing out of school, so they might as well take that out.
People have pulled up to like a 40-foot spot. Like, well, I'm not gonna fit here. Crap, no. Like, take off, and they're driving a little compact car.
Or like with a big truck like us, I will be the first to admit, if I keep my truck, there's a 12-inch monitor that you can get that controls all the air conditioning stuff. And you can have a forward-facing camera, a rear-facing camera, side-facing cameras. And I just think that's awesome.
I mean, that's cool, but I'm just not an electronics guy. Like, the electronics just don't always work.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
My wife's car broke down on her brand new car, and all it was your foot pedal for your accelerator isn't talking.
Right.
To this sensor that's on your throttle body. Well, why the hell isn't there a cable there?
They quit doing all that. I'll never understand why they quit doing that. All the manufacturers quit doing that. Some engineer was like, this is more efficient. And I hate it because...
But it's not.
It's not because like when I hit the throttle, it doesn't rev as fast as I want it to.
I mean, I feel like I'm pissed off for the dozens of cable making people that are put out of work.
That's right.
I'm going to represent them.
You know the worst thing about not being able to
stand up for y'all.
That's right, standing up. You know the worst thing about not being able to, or having not having the cable there, is that you can't walk around to the front of your car and go, "Watch this."
Wow.
Can't do it.
Damn right.
I hate that.
That's hot riding.
That's hot rodding. If you cannot rev your car from the outside of it, junk.
Yeah. And if your car makes more noise than it does speed, cut that out.
That's wrong.
Get some exhaust, please.
Which is like everybody that owns a carburetor.
It's like I don't mind loud exhaust as long as the car is fast enough to get it away from me at a decent rate.
Absolutely. Which is why I completely quit making fun of imports. I completely quit making fun of them because there's so many fast imports out there now that's got fart cans on them. I mean, man, I'm telling you right now, there's an SRT4 in Moorhead that will run tens.
But I remember when like that was all, man, back in the good old days when the first Fast and Furious came out.
Oh yeah.
And everybody that was in the parking lot at that. Oh yeah, when we went to see that on opening night.
Oh yeah.
Everybody out there, when we left that movie, was crashing into each other and hitting the curb and almost hitting the pedestrian.
Oh yeah.
Everybody was a race car.
By the time the third one was there, they had the police at the. By the time the third movie came around, they had police waiting outside for people. They were like,
"Go ahead.
We know what y'all gonna do.
Go ahead.
We know what y'all gonna do."
Yeah, we know this movie really gets out 10 o'clock.
This movie makes y'all go crazy.
9:55.
Makes y'all go crazy. We gotta keep y'all reined in.
It was nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was absolutely just a bunch of stock cars out there just hitting the factory rev limiter so they didn't blow up their Hondas. What a time to be alive.
Oh, we live in the best and worst times ever.
I mean, I remember the time when the rev limiter was the sound of the rods knocking and the valves floating in. That's when you knew you pushed it too far.
Oh yeah, my first car was an
you
81
make it
Camaro.
back off of itself.
Yes. My first car was an 81 Camaro with a 406 in it, and that's what I learned to drive on. How I'm still here that's how I know there's a God.
Give it hell.
And I can't tell you how many times I would rev it out in first gear and wait for it to nose over before I shifted. You know,
yeah. When you start losing power, it's like, all right, now it's time to shift it.
Okay, it's time to shift. Yeah, it was crazy.
So the tuners, good idea from you or a bad idea from you?
For gas trucks, absolutely horrible idea. For diesel trucks, I think they have correct applications. Just be cautious.
That's about where I'm laying. You know, I'm not totally against them if you actually plan on spending the money to do it correctly. Because if not, you just be chasing Jason problems.
Absolutely.
I mean, one thing after another. Spend the 10 to 12 that it's going to take right then. Get it all done at once. Because every time you go to the dealership with a diesel and that cab's got to come off the chassis, it's $1,000.
At least.
Put it on the rack, $1,000.
Look at it, $1,000.
Yeah, if that somebody has the forks that touch the chassis and lifts it up off the ground, it's $1,000.
And if you can get by lucky, only $500 if they got to plug a tuner into it and diagnose it.
No doubt.
For $500, I'll look at it and tell you what's wrong with it. But
yeah, we charge the battery, it's going to be $150.
$150. It's ridiculous. I want to know who changed the hourly rate on stuff. It blows my mind. I remember. It seems like yesterday, man. If he was making $10 an hour, you was high on.
Oh yeah, man, you was high on the horse living.
Now $20 an hour, people are like, golly, I hope he makes it.
yeah, no doubt. And that's another thing about the big tires and the small tires. Cost efficiency. Absolutely.
If you put big tires on your truck, you're absolutely costing yourself money. And I know this. I just put all new ball joints, all new A-arms on my truck. But here's the thing. Guess what? I will gladly do it again.
Right.
Because to me, I like that look. I like the way it drives. I like the way it literally, my truck right now, dude, I'll let you drive it. It feels like driving a sports car just way up in the air. Yeah. I mean, it's there. Yeah. But, it's not what everybody else likes. My buddies give me up the road. I mean, they give me up the road for it.
So would you lift it?
Absolutely. My truck is lifted. It's lifted 4 inches, and it's got 20 by 12s on it. And
Body lift or suspension lift?
Suspension lift, hands down. I think the look of a body lift, the area that it creates in between the body and the frame, absolutely blows. I just can't stand it.
Isn't that? I mean,
I hate it.
Do what you got to do, but I'm not a fan.
I mean, now.
Not a fan of the body lift.
Now I have put a body lift on a Tahoe once because it needed an inch to clear the suspension lift that was already there.
Right.
And there was
so
really there was no
adding a lift to a lift.
Right. It spaced it out an inch, and you couldn't see it from the outside. You couldn't see it. Now in that instance, okay, that's cool because if you need an inch, there's no way to. You can't buy a suspension lift once you put 4 inches on there. You can't. And you need 5, you got to find somewhere else to make that inch.
Yeah.
So that's okay. But man, when I see these 6-inch freaking body spaces
big
between
stacks of spaces.
Oh my God.
Yeah. You can see daylight between the chassis.
Yes. And how is that safe? That's my thing. How is that safe? I mean, you've got a 700-pound body that's not setting against something.
Right.
And it's only being held together by some bolts and some nuts.
It's like the houses that you see down the lake that just have like
stilts,
a couple columns of cinder blocks.
Yeah. I'm like, how is that safe, man? Dude, I get nervous when I see women walking in 6-inch heels. I'm like, man, she's gonna trip and fall and die. You know, just, come on, get some base underneath of you, brother. You gotta have,
have a good foundation.
You gotta have a good foundation. I'll be honest, that's the reason I like the wide tires on my truck. I feel like I got more of a base to the ground. I'm just gonna be serious.
right. But the wide tire thing, I'm on these groups that are on the face page and all this stuff. I see the argument all the time. Spacers make your hubs wear faster and things of this nature.
Man,
and I've also seen a few engineering aspects and perspectives and opinions on it. And they're saying, no, the weight is already riding on the hub that it's designed to ride on, making the outside perimeter of the wheel farther from that hub does not affect the weight that is already riding on that hub.
As long as the suspension geometry is the same, that is correct.
Right.
Yep. Which I literally just found this out. I'm figuring this stuff out as I go. I just bought the Rough Country A-arms, which shout out to Rough Country. I got one that was broke. They asked me no questions and sent me a new one, lickety split.
Oh yeah.
But they've got if you go 4 inches with your lift on the GM trucks, then it puts the ball joints at an extreme angle. Which it did. I wore mine out in 20,000 miles.
Yes.
But they've got a fix for it. A-arms puts it right there where it needs to be. And I even asked them about the spacers because I run 2-inch spacers on my truck. And I'm like, hey, am I going to do something that's going to... My truck come with 2-inch spacers. I didn't even know there was on there until I took the wheels off of it. And they were like, man, put the spacers on the hubs. You got the suspension geometry in the right angle. You're going to be fine. And this is from a company that's been around for 50 years. Correct. So, I mean, they've done their due diligence on it. They've put the engineering into it. They put the time into it. I'm going to take their word over somebody that's a keyboard warrior.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I'm going to take the engineer's words over some guy in Saskatchewan or what the hell ever.
Right. Now, but on the same token, them guys will tell you, hey, man, this is not for off-roading.
No doubt.
They'll tell you that. You know, you don't take, okay.
If you can't find the wheel that matches your calipers, go find a wheel that matches the calipers.
Absolutely. That's the thing.
Don't shim it up.
Yep.
Don't put adapters on it. If you plan on actually doing some off-roading, do not do it.
Right.
Don't go out there with rubber band tires and deep dish wheels if you plan on getting in the thick of it.
If you're so dumb that you take your $3,000 wheels and your $1,000 set of tires and your $400 set of spacers,
yes,
and you think that that's going to go out and be a four-wheel drive or like an off-roading good idea, please call me. Let me come video it and put it on my YouTube channel.
We need content for the YouTube channel.
We will. Me and Glenn both will come out there. Glenn's a great audio guy. We will make you famous.
We'll get that $10,000.
That's right. We want that money. So, but at the same time, and I'm gonna, this is probably gonna get me some flack. If you're a guy that likes the off-road,
right,
don't make fun of the guy who uses his truck in a different manner. That's fine. That's his choice.
I agree.
And if you're the guy who likes a mall crawler, don't make fun of the guy whose truck's maybe a little more beat up because he chooses to use his truck in this manner. Man, we're all trying to make this thing, we're all trying to be in this life together. See what you like about their stuff, talk about that, and if you don't like it, do what your mama taught you. If you ain't got something nice to say, keep your mouth shut.
I agree with every bit of that. Mm-hmm. My pet peeve, wash your damn trucks.
Oh yeah, see, to me that's taking care of your equipment.
Yeah, you got to take care of the shit that takes care of you.
Absolutely,
it's like your PPE.
Absolutely. For you guys that don't know that, tell them what it is.
It's personal protective equipment.
That's right. In case y'all didn't know, we both in the military.
You have to take care of the gear that is taking care of you.
Yep.
And part of that is washing your damn truck.
Absolutely.
Get the mud out of there. Mm-hmm. Pressure wash it.
And then if you do it at a public car wash, pull your damn truck out,
have the decency.
Spend another $1 and blow the mud down into the drain.
Yes, have
Common
the decency.
Courtesy.
Keep it clean.
Absolutely.
Don't nobody want to pull up into that. No one should have to walk around in that until they make that mess.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. I mean, now the only disclaimer I'll have about that is, if you got the Carolina Squirt, you deserve to be made fun of.
Yeah. Carolina Squirt is not.
And I'll even go one step further. The extreme Carolina Squirt, I think you deserve to be made fun of. I mean,
how did that start? God, that pisses me off.
Man, I remember back in the 90s, there were people, the front end just set up a little higher than the back, and that didn't look bad. That didn't look bad. But man, when you got a 6-inch lift in the front of your truck, and the back of the truck is sitting on the tires,
I don't get it. I do not get it. God, I do not understand it.
Don't understand. What is your major malfunction?
I'm telling you, man.
They can't even be comfortable to drive. I'm telling you, man, I watch these guys drive these trucks, and it looks uncomfortable. And every one of them are straight piped. 2018 Chevy truck, Carolina Squirt, straight pipe. Every light on the dash and that thing's on.
That I don't like it. Yeah, what's that doing to your oil?
Nothing good. It does nothing good to any part of your truck.
Starving the front end of that.
Transmission's working hard. Motor's working hard. Ball joints are getting killed. The rear's got all the way to the truck on it, so your leaf springs are getting killed.
Well, your pinion's not getting lubricated the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
If your
dry shaft has got to be at a ridiculous angle.
Yeah, it's no good.
I wonder if it even puts stress on the middle of the frame of the truck.
I don't know.
Because it's sitting like this. And then instead of doing this, it's doing this. I know y'all can't see me, but
can you imagine another 20 years we'll be like reading some kind of holographic computer and it'd be like, check out this barn find Carolina Squirt truck I found. $80,000 is what I'm gonna ask for it.
it's got 10 miles on it because it was broke down from the time they squatted
it. Broke the pinion.
What's funny is that I think that every time I see these ridiculously low mile barn finds, it was like, man, I found this car in a barn. It's got 26,000 miles on it. And I'm like, I hope you plan on completely rebuilding that car because there's a reason they only drove it 26,000 miles.
I like the ones where it's like, got this car that's got 50,000 original miles. And I'm thinking, that's because it doesn't have 100,000 mile
Oh my gosh.
It's only got the 10,000s.
It stops.
It's probably like went over like 6 times.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got 650,000 miles.
I had a guy stop in there today. He's an elderly fella. He stopped by my house. He was trying to buy my C10. He reached in and said, man, that truck's only got 63,000 miles on it. I said, buddy, I put them on there. I promise you it's got a lot more than
that. Right. No doubt. On that note, I believe we're going to check out for this edition.
And if you guys have any comments or questions about anything that we've talked about today, please get on your Facebook, on our Facebook page. It's called On Our Cylinders. And write us questions, man. Me and Glenn both are on there a lot, and we would love to be as interactive with you guys as we possibly can. Because let's face it, without you guys being interactive and helping support the channel, we're just two guys talking to ourselves in a room, and that ain't no fun.
Hell, it's a brand new page. It's only got 5,000 miles on it.
It's only got 5,000 miles.
Well, we'll see y'all. Stay up on the page and check us out on Anchor. You can check us out on Radio Public. You can check the podcast out on Apple Podcast. We're on
Spotify.
Are
we on Google yet?
Yeah, we're on Google Podcasts. So there's several ways for you to find us.
And it's on all cylinders. You have to type in all 3 words.
Yes, all one word.
Yep.
On all cylinders, one word.
Maybe that's the problem.
That's it.
That's the problem.
On all cylinders, one word.
You got that Kentucky education. No, you made it all one word.
Made it all one word.
That's the way we talk.
So check it out on all cylinders, and we are out of here. We'll reschedule with our guest, Mr. Jamie Skidmore, at a later date.
That's right.
And
thank y'all for checking us out, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Keep listening. Stay in the garage.